Hey everybody, welcome to the Jen Lowry Writes channel, where tonight I am going to be talking about the steps that I'm planning on taking to create a fall audit of my brand, my business, social media, the whole network of communications that I partake in on a daily or a weekly basis. So I want to start off by saying, when you see the Snuggie out, you guys know fall of the year is coming. It's getting cooler out and in this house. And I'm comfortable, finished homeschooling, and now I'm ready to go. So my first thoughts was about this audit. I found an audit sheet online, and it had like rankings, and it was this big complex Excel sheet, and I was all about doing this report. I was like, that seems like something cool to do. And then I was like, wait, this is not me. I don't need all of that. I was like, I love my Jamboard. I'm just going to do a fall audit checklist on my Jamboard. So I'm going to pull up my Jamboard, and I put my image up. And I really like the thought of using just this Jamboard piece, because I can do a page per social media, a page for like business, my business piece, my goals. And I think that the first step in this is to do a snapshot of where I am currently across the board. So that's what I'm going to start working on, is going and checking my dates, checking my follow count. I'm going to do on September 22nd, 2020. And then I'm going to start listing out my social media. And then I need to set goals for what I would like for this to look like next year. And I can do quarterly goals. I could work on monthly goals if I wanted to. But right now, I think I'm just going to do just put down my starter pieces and then fix my goals. So I have Facebook and Instagram, of course, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and my blog. And then I'm going to start just going around just to make sure I have my podcast. All right. And then I can just quickly check everything. And then once I kind of get that snapshot, then I'm going to look at engagement. I do feel like I fall short on the engagement piece. And then I want to use my Jamboard as an opportunity for brainstorming of what can I do to increase that engagement. It's like I'm not getting a lot of traffic on Facebook. And what could I do over at the Facebook world? And just because I have a lot of followers on Twitter does not mean that I have engagement either. And so I have to remember, I don't ask, what are your favorite colored socks? Or just kind of like some random things. And I do follow a bunch of writers. And then I was going in and cleaning up because I was cleaning up some Twitter, which I do think we need to do sometimes in life, because different names they had chat. There's just like obscure accounts that I'm like, I don't think that's what they were when I followed them. And then businesses and stuff that I was no longer following, stuff like that. I cleaned it up. And then I can go back and I can see where I'm getting. I just checked my YouTube. And then Pinterest, I've learned about this week from one of my friends, Anne Delview. She's talked about how you can make these Canva images for Pinterest to put up with your blog, and it looks really cool. So I'm like, oh, I got to start doing that. So there's some things that I could do, visually appealing things that I didn't quite know about before. Okay. So it's only like 10K. And I have the business one, so I'm able to be able to see like all of these analytics. I did pin the Library series as I'm getting ready to have that audio come out, so it's good that that one's pinned. And then LinkedIn. I am counting LinkedIn because I have built some amazing author connections through LinkedIn. So I think that LinkedIn for me is a top, especially with the way that I connect with what's it called, with my podcast people. Okay, that's not a good website to look at through my phone, so I'm going to go to LinkedIn on my computer. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little bit concerned about my evening stamina, just this whole brain tired that I'm feeling right now. And I'm thinking I've got to not drink coffee to get through this, but if I am going to get this work done that I want to get done for my author life, it's going to have to be at night. I cannot get up any earlier than I'm getting up. Like, I know I say I can't. I know I could get up at 5 again. I used to do it a long time ago. Gosh. Here I am yawning. Okay, so my first is podcast and then Twitter. No, my first is podcasting, then my Pinterest, then Twitter, and then LinkedIn. Then I drop way low for Instagram and my Facebook author page and YouTube. So those are places where I feel like I do need to grow and grow my reach there. And I could be doing possibly a lot more on Instagram. I've got to make sure that I tie in. I don't know if I've done this or not, but every time that I see oh my gosh, my friend just posted that it's spring in Australia and she's got a great book. And I was putting fall with a great book. That's hilarious. And so I probably did something wrong with my Soul Food Book Club. I probably should have connected it to my author page instead of it being something separate. And I don't know if I can group groups are a way for fans of your page to post, comment. You can link an existing group. So create a new group. Link a group. Oh, no, that's not what I want. I don't want to link a group. I want to link a page because, and I don't know if I can do that or not. After I already built it. But it would have been really cool if I would have thought that through and just built a book club under the Jen Lowry author page. Because then when people would find that, they would find the book club. Now they're having to go to two separate places. So I quite didn't think about that. I see. Just edit page. Here, I'm going to start. That's a great place for me to start in my fall edit, is to see if, can you combine two pages? To merge your pages, go to Facebook. Go to Facebook. I am on Facebook Help. Perfect. Let's try it, guys. Choose the two pages that you would like to merge. It says they may be permanently Ooh. Ooh. They all get deleted. Never mind. Never mind. Not doing it. That's another thing I wanted to put on the audit is the book club, because I really want that to be a part of my next steps as an author, is to build up my YA and MG book club and my connections with homeschool families and teachers and readers of MG and YA. So I'm going back to my Jamboard, and I'm going to put Soul Free Book Club. So I did not think about that, but that one is definitely really small. It's the smallest of all of mine right now. So what can I do to spice cake that one all up? I was supposed to be making a spice cake tonight, but as you see, I'm here in my author space, thinking of all these things that I need to kind of clean up and take them around for a checkup. So this one's, I know, really small. That's funny. I just followed my page. Introducing a news feed. Want a place to learn? Okay. Okay, so now Soul Food Book Club. What do we have today, you guys? I have 13 people in the book club. I do want to, okay, so now that I have got my sticky note that has all of my stats, if I say I want to grow, I know if I say 10%, that's not really a lot of growth. I'm going to say a 20% increase by January 2021 is going to be my goal. Turn that checker blue. It is bright. And so now I can do what I need to get to now. I'm going to go with so that would mean that I would need to get 55 more on Facebook between now and January. And I would love it not just to be 55 more just random people, that I would love engaged readers, audiences. So I am pushing 20%, guys, as a goal. Like, let's do this thing. Let's try. Wow, 228 more on Instagram. All right, Twitter. 1338 more of engaged Twitter people. 68 more YouTube subscribers. I think I can. And then oh, 2,000 more on Pinterest. How many more connections on LinkedIn? 1,000. 3. Oh, I didn't check my blog. And then my podcast, 3,500 more listeners. And then Soul Food Book Club. 2. 3 more in my book club. 3 more. Maybe it's you. Do you like to read MG and YA? If you do, you can join my book club. Okay. Let's go check out my blog following. And visit. That's all my stats. Oops. $14.07 more followers. And then I'll do my newsletter. So let's go check out what's happening with my mailing list. I absolutely love my mailing list. I love connecting with those readers, and they'll email me back and send me personalized messages. I love that. And I'm doing the giveaways, and it's so cool to give away books. I was able to give away 3 Sweet Potato Joneses. And of course, I should have done that for her birthday. Sweet Potato was a month old this week. You would thought that I would have done that. Didn't even think about it. However, I can do a happy belated late month birthday. And when I send out my newsletter again, I am going to, I'll be talking to one of my WWJs about newsletters coming up. And I know everybody uses the different platforms, but I just shout out Rooftop Wix. Love me some shout out. Love me some Wix shout out. Oh, Goodreads. Goodreads. So see, here's what I'm doing. I'm doing like this brainstorming here. The more I talk things out, I think it's better for me in life to have you here with me while I do these things, because when I can talk things out loud, sometimes it works better. Who do I have? I do not have a lot of people. It looks like I have 24 on Goodreads. I just counted it up, but I bet you there's a better. Oh, okay. I counted 24. Then I'm going to do followers. Yeah, 24. Let me get back. Then I need to do Goodreads. And then I need 5 more. And now I'm going to go to my newsletter. My email subscriber. My list. I love this Google Doc piece, this Google Doc idea. And then I'm going to go check it out. Oh, website traffic. See? I knew you were a genius. So now in my brainstorming sheet, I need to go and do website traffic. So my newsletter subscriber list, my website traffic, we are making a list of all of the things to audit. And we need a baseline. We need to then be able to set goals. And I am going to set a goal for January 2021. People can do quarterly, they can do monthly, they can do yearly, 6 months, whatever. I'm going to say, what is this going to look like for me as I work through these next few months? And I'm hoping to be, even though I'm super tired at this time, a little bit more active at night, and that I'm able to stay up. My website in the past was getting way more hits than it is right now. It's kind of slowed down a little bit. Hey, Michelle. I just saw that you popped in. So I am creating a Jamboard where I am doing baseline, so I can kind of see on all of my social media outlets the ways that I connect with business professionals on LinkedIn, all of these different areas of communication. What does my following look like? And then I'm going to focus at what does my engagement look like? Because I was discussing earlier that just because I might have a high number of followers in an area, if I'm not getting that engagement piece and building those relationships, then the number is just sitting there, and I'm looking for those authentic relationships. I'm at my newsletter piece now. Do you do a newsletter? I know that Rachel wanted to talk more with me about a newsletter. I absolutely love my newsletter, people. Okay. And so then once I've created all of my list of all of my, I think I've got them all now on the thing. I have my numbers beside it, and then I decided on a growth piece. Which I would love to grow 20%. Which I know that is a lot, but I'm not. Okay. So what do I have? Okay. Yeah, that's what we were talking about, that email subscriber list. And I was watching a YouTuber that I follow. She's a great fantasy writer. She writes adult fantasy. And I noticed in her description, she had a subscribe to my newsletter. So I was like, oh, I'll click that. I would like to have her, because you know me, I love it. I just subscribed to another author tube today. I love being on people's newsletters. I like to see the behind the scenes, not only like what platforms they're using, how they set it up as models, but I also just like to get information from the authors that I like to follow on YouTube. You know, I love YouTube, Author World. So that's my way of connecting silently as I get to watch all of them do their thing. So when I clicked on it, it was a Google form. And I was like, oh, I can do that. It doesn't need MailChimp or any of those paid services. I can hook up with some Google form. We use Google Forms all the time at work. And I'm like, okay, this is great. So now when I talk to people about joining my newsletter, it's quick Google form. And then I take, and before I send out my next newsletter, I go through and check. I check my website and I check that Google form. And then I add the new subscribers. I take their emails and I put them into a Google Sheet. So I have them all on a Google Sheet. And then when I'm over at Wix Shoutout, I just add them into the contact, the address book in Wix Shoutout. And it populates all of that for me, and it sends it, all out. So, yeah, working on getting that email subscriber list, it's not as, it's not as difficult, like, as people make it sound. Like, I love the one today that I signed up for, because it was like, you get a freebie, you get to have, you get a short story. And I already pulled up her short story. And then I went, and at the very end, it was like you could join in a private Facebook group of hers. And I was like, for real? And I clicked it. It says click here. It was a PDF interactive, and it took me to her Facebook. And she had 16 other fantasy, probably readers and authors like me. And I hit join group. So then I get to see a behind the scenes group like that. So I thought that was cool. Yeah, I love the Google form. When I saw it, I was like, man, that's brilliant. Because you don't have to like go out and try to find another form. Like I have a plugin on my website that is right there if people want to sign up. And so if they're finding me there, but yeah. Yeah, I did a 20% January. I did it, Michelle. I was like, let's just say it. And yeah, I went in and I did all of my numbers. And then I did the 20% and I put how many more authentic relationships that I want to build between now and January. So that way it kind of gives me like a projection. However, I know 20% can be like, that sounds like a lot for me, especially when I was looking at my numbers. But I know that I'm going to be really active. I'm going to be doing a lot of nano prep in October. November, I'm going to be doing nano. I'm going to be reaching out to more schools and places. And so I'm setting those goals high. And then in January, I can readjust them. If I don't meet the 20%, I can then move on and say, okay, that really wasn't realistic. What were you thinking about? And then I can move. So right now, I just needed like, no, because yeah, go big. Why not? Why not say, because at first I was like 10%. And then I was like, asking you shall receive. All right, Lord, 20%. And I just did all the math, and it's too late for math for me, but I did it. And I have it all up on my Jamboard, except my website traffic. That was the last thing I was working on. Oh, I'm a newsletter. I started talking. Okay. And so my website traffic, and then my newsletter. I put in my Soul Food Book Club because I really want to spend some time nurturing that. And I have not created intro videos for that. I have not made like me reading the books. I've not made charts, certificates for the book club, questions. I know I've got a lot to that. And that's a good thing maybe that it is so small right now. I only had 13 people that are in my book club. So that one, I need 3 more for it to get 20% growth by January. And so now I see, like, if I say free time, whenever that free time is, some things now that I'm looking at these numbers and I'm going, wow, that one did not get as much traction as I hoped. Now I'm going to have a Jamboard brainstorming sheet for each one of these. So this one's kind of like just going over my big numbers of like just my projections too. Okay, so I'm going to do that one more time. Michelle, before you would, yeah, I think so. Michelle, the lady got back up with me, and I told her that I was going to be tagging you in for next week. And I told her because she was like, I'm free, like, anytime in the afternoon, Eastern time. And so I was like, hey, how about 6 or 7 o'clock next Wednesday? Can you check your calendar? And thanks for being patient as we go back and forth. So I'll let you know. She hasn't emailed me back yet, but I did send her that next email. I forgot to text you about that. Sorry. I was going to get there. I was waiting on her to email me back. But yeah, I know that I probably, like, people will say, well, you could get an email subscribers thing all at once that collects everything, does and manages everything. But I've got it. I just use Google Sheets. I have it. Something else too that I started thinking about, and I don't know if I need to put it on here as the fall edit, as looking at the numbers, but I was giving Eventbrite workshops, but I was only doing that in the summer because I knew that once I started back teaching and then homeschooling, that my time would be limited, because I do want to spend time here making videos. I do want to be with the WWJs when I can. And I just kept thinking, I don't want to add another thing on my plate when I've got a lot of other things going on. But I really did love those Eventbrites. And it was like how to start your own podcast for authors. It was like podcasting 101. It was self-publishing versus publishing. Like, I had some topics there, how to engage, all of that. And so I'm wondering, I'm just going to put my workshops with a question mark right there. Because I'm wondering, should I go back to that? Yeah, I think that video, Michelle, and I think that so if I look at mine right now, my podcast is my number one place where I have the greatest engagement. And that podcast is nothing fancy. You see, I don't have any of the fancy equipment. None of those big mics that are all attached and all coming out of the wall in my studio. But it's just me sharing the journey. And that podcast and my blog is next. Same way. It's poetry. It's nothing scripted. And my blog gets the tons. And so when I look at where I'm getting the most, it's from that. It's just from sharing journey. And so when I get tired of, at night and I go, gosh, should I be on Twitter or should I be on Facebook author page? Because I do spend a lot of time on Facebook. Maybe not as much. Maybe I need to spend more time on my podcast and maybe more time on my blog, then share that content out on my Facebook author page. And then if I do reach readers or writers in that way. So I think now that I'm looking at this snapshot for myself, I'm honestly just reflecting right now on where I really do need to spend my time. And I was rocking the podcast. When I was driving to work every day, that was me. That was my routine. I was making podcasts every single day. And it was a day, not only just one time either. I would make a podcast on the way home. I would make another podcast because I thought of another idea or something else crazy happened in author life. And then I would be like, oh, I got to share that. And so I'd pull out the podcast and I would make another one, sometimes 2 a day. And to the point where I had, 700 episodes. And it's the consistency. And it's bringing in the listeners. And they know that they're going to just get me straight talking and sharing. Yeah. And I think it's just that natural giving. And that's why I was thinking about the workshops, because I've met some great people there. Yeah, and that's the thing, Michelle. So when I look at right now, when I was just looking at my chart, I know my eyes were probably looking like I was all on a tennis match, but when I just looked at that work, and I was like, yeah, I really do need to go where I'm more successful, because I am really not getting like a lot of traction at all on my Facebook author page. And then there can be other people that are doing that for their Facebook author page. And then what they're doing is working for them. But the podcast and the blog is really working for me. So, and I might not be as consistent though as I used to be. And so if I'm thinking about next steps forward for myself with the fall of the year, now that I'm looking at all of this, what are some things that I can do moving forward? But I do know that for the month of October, we're going to have our brainstorming meeting probably 7 o'clock on Friday about October with the WWJs. And then know that that's going to be just a busy nano prep month. And so I will have probably a lot more content. But I've got so much, like I've done 3 podcast interviews in the past week alone. And so the podcast interviews, along with my solo interview, like just my solo episodes, I need to be a little bit more intentional for that. Yeah. And so I don't spend the money, but I spend the time. And that's it. The return on investment is key. And my son and I have talked about that quite a few times too. And that's something that I do not pump a lot of thought into is Amazon ads, Instagram ads, Facebook ads. That's just something that that I haven't done. I did not run an ad for sweet potato. I didn't run an ad. I'm trying to think the last time I did an ad. I might have done an ad for one of my webinars, maybe one time, but it was like a $5 ad or something like that. So I know I wasn't going to get like 1,000 reach, maybe something like that. But I do not invest the money into the advertising pieces and the paid promotional pieces. But the time that I'm giving, and so that's what I want to do too, is I want to look at if I know that after homeschool, I don't have a certain window of energy left, like right, because I can't drink coffee this late. I don't need caffeine this late, because then I probably would have a hard time sleeping. But I'm like super tired. So like worked all day. I had a podcast interview, and that does take a lot of energy. Not only do I have to read the books, prep for that. So I just read another book, a nonfiction book. I've read 3 books in the past week. So when I am doing that, that time is there. I'm giving away that time. And so then after the podcast interview, the kids wanted to go out for a walk. So we're walking. Then I have to come home and cook. Then we're homeschooled. And then I'm like, oh, now I get to write and check my fall audit. Because this is something I've been wanting to do since the WWJ conference. I've had it on my journal. I've been waiting for a time when I could go in. And so how am I going to be spending my time between now and January 2021, so odd to say, to make sure that I am spending it efficiently I'm still able to get writing done, but that I'm truly engaging with my readers and my audience. And so I'm going to be praying over that. I know that the sustained like writing sprint time, I love that junk. Yeah, because I love the writing part. Like the writing part, my one of the podcast interviews, one of my favorite books of the whole year, it's called Lucky Brilliant. I had Maureen on last week, and we had been messaging back and forth prior to the interview, and then I brought up a comment she had said, like, if it was just about the writing. And we've talked about that too, Michelle. Like, I know we're not the only authors that feel that way. But I love the writing piece. Like, that's what brings me so much peace and so much joy. Yeah, I wrote 13,000 words last week for finalizing the Fae. I showed you guys my mess in that video in the WWJs. I showed y'all my 3-plot structure mess. And when I had my writing club today, because I knew my students that are in the Mighty Pen were not going to probably ever go back and read that middle grades fantasy. I mean, it's got spoiler alerts all over it, the way that I color coded it this time around and put like major key points. But I showed them that strategy today, my students that's in the club with me, because I was like, God, I love this stuff. So all of that behind the scenes with the writing piece that goes with it, that's where I've got to get better. I've got to do that. Yeah, I'm tired though right now, like super brain tired. But I'm still here brainstorming. I love to think out loud. That is a strategy that really truly works. It's a reading apprenticeship strategy. It's called Think Alouds, to talk out the processes. It's actually a reading strategy, but it really helps me. So while I'm sitting here brainstorming and I was writing out my Jamboard steps, I was actually thinking of more things like, so I do need to do this log. I do need to make a video for the Soul Food Book Club. And I reached out to some author friends. So that's something else, Michelle, is that I really believe in the power of author connections. You know how much I love you guys. And I think about there are so many authors out there that are in the genres that we write that might just love to connect with other great-minded authors. And so reaching out is something that I've got on my list. Yeah, it's an actual recognized strategy. I am trained in I've got trained in it. It's called Think Alouds. Yeah, I do it in front of the kids all the time. It's to uncover the way that we process and think through. But yeah, that is something that I'm going to challenge you to do, Michelle, between now and January. I'm going to challenge all the WWJs, because making connections, we say how, authentic, be authentic. Well, I can't get as like real as this, right? I mean, but it's about reaching out and having that courage to reach out and say, hey, do you want to collaborate? Do you want to connect? And if that means setting up an event to do that, then that's great. So following other authors on Instagram is important for me because I am not Instagram savvy. And I love to see pretty images anyway. So Instagram, I'm not saying I can make the pretty images, but I love to look at all of that. And I love Bookstagram. And so being on Instagram really inspires me, like, that author, and so I love following authors. And I'm like, okay, so now, for example, the other day, you weren't on here when I started doing the calling all Christmas authors. So for the whole month of December, I woke up. This was on Sunday morning. I woke up and I was like, okay, Nano's going to be about Christmas in November. Be great to have my writing people around me for that, because that's just a personal time for me with missing my mom and all that. And so I was like, okay, do that for Nano. And then moving from that, and the whole month of December, I want us to have just a joyful time. Just a joyful time with other authors who write holiday romance. Sweet romances in YA, sweet romances in the adult world, in the adult market, NA, adult. So I was like, okay, let me contact Nancy, because I love her. And she was like, yes, I'm in. She was the first person. Like, I woke up, I was like up probably 15 minutes, and I'm contacting her going, hey, pray about this. And then, yes, I'm telling you, Michelle, then I got on. Yeah, it's always. And my dad too, both. But my mom's thing was Christmas. I talked a lot about that on Sunday. Oh my goodness, do it, Michelle. It's going to be so much fun. Because I contacted Nancy. Like, first thing I did when I woke up, I went to Canva and I created this image that said, calling all holiday sweet romance authors. If you write sweet romance for YA and adult, and it's around the Christmas season, let's spread some joy around the holidays. And I just started thinking about all these ideas, and I started brainstorming them, and I listed them all out, like sharing our favorite family recipes and doing pajama parties for Christmas, and watching movies that are on like Prime, because we could do like Twitch Prime. Like I was doing like watch party thoughts. I was thinking definitely doing write-ins, like where we could have where we could have holiday write-ins together. We could do challenges. So I was thinking about how fun like all of that would be. Alexis, close. I'm on the camera. Thanks, baby. So I started reaching out to people, Michelle, and I just made that flyer to go with it. As a little corny little thing that was, a little 5-minute put together on Canva. And I reached out to an author who works with Harlequin. And she has beautiful covers. I was like, man, I want to read her work. And so, yes, that's it. I'm telling you, Michelle, let's do it. And so I reached out to her and I was like, look, I've got this idea. I would love it if you could join us for the month of December. And I told her to pray about it. And here were some of the ideas I had, but she could come up with her own ideas and her take on it. And so definitely I got a yes for that. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. It's like to connect us. And it all stemmed from how I'm watching other authors engage. Like the minute Tish was Agatha Christie Day, I was like, oh, I love R.L. Stine. His birthday's coming up. Let's have R.L. Stine Day. And that gives me a chance to work with my horror author people. And so I reached out to a horror author, a YA and middle grades author, because that's my jam. And I reached out to her and I'm like, can I feature you for the October book club? And she wanted to send me her books. And so I was like, no, I want to buy your books. Don't send them to me. I want to buy them for my book club. And so I've got 2 of her books chosen. she's going to be there. Yeah, why not? Like, I just reached out and said, you know what? I've watched her on YouTube. You know, she's really out there trying to make authentic engagements too with people. She's got tons of books out there, and they're clean and they're horror. I'm like, yes, it's for me. So why not? And I just went to her website and I just sent her a contact form. Can I please have you featured for the Soul Food Book Club for the month of October? I'm looking for a YA or a middle grade. And when she was like, well, you could do this one in YA or this one in MG, my Holy Spirit just said, wait, do both. My Holy Spirit said, do both. And I said, okay. So I emailed her back and I'm like, can I feature them both? I would really like to start with this one and then move. And so I'm going with that. And think about when I read 30 books of Kate DiCamillo's in a whole month. I mean, come on. I can have that. I mean, you author study. It's perfect. So that's just, you know, a one-day event. And then it's that book club. But there's more, because I started, when I woke up Sunday, it was, I want a month of good. I want a month of joy. Let's just do a whole month of December. And holidays could be hard for people. No, I'm not the only one. And so maybe, you know, this could bring someone some joy, and it could help me too have some joy. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to try my best to have something going on every single day in the month of December for holiday romances. And like the book and the poem that I wrote, Under the Kissing Trees, was when Eli and I went to Merle's Inlet, which is one of my favorite places to go. We went to Brook Green Gardens, and we went to their Festival of Lights, and we were under the trees, and we kissed under the trees. And that's the poem that's in Sweet Potato Jones. I got to add it in. I snuck it in. And I wrote it was by Anonymous. It's fine. Because it's all about her name thing. Because she's like, I wish I was anonymous. I used it as a part of it. But all kinds of things we can be doing in the month of December. So, Michelle, I'm challenging you to do that same thing. And then that just sets us up with friendships, with collaborations, with events and activities to keep us going, activities for our readers to look forward to. And then that activity can bring engagement. I mean, that's all I know. That's what I know to say is that, you know, you kept hearing them say like authentic engagement, authentic. It's just about being present. It's just about being here. And how can we be here and be available for other people if we don't show up? Even if it's in a calling all Christmas authors image and says, hey, let's collaborate, email me. And then I'm starting to email people out. Then I got this message out of the blue on Twitter. And it was like, hey, can it be a kids author too? Because I write kids author, I'm a kids illustrator author. I'm like, email me. Let's go. Why not? If you want to join in for the Christmas fun, come on, authors. So, yeah. Oh, okay. I'm going to tell you, I cannot wait for you to read my girl. I love her beyond. She is like my heart song for the rest of my life. I cannot wait for you to read her. So I was going through, I won't tell you any spoilers, but I will tell you emotionally where I was as a writer at that point. Of course, I was just writing, and my Aunt Dot and my mom were the only people that ever read anything. So this is way back in the 2000s when I wrote Sweet Potato. She has been waiting a long time to see the light. So it was like 2007, and my dad passed away. And that's when I wrote Sweet Potato. And then my mom passed away in 2009, and she got to read Sweet Potato before she passed. And that was the last book she read of mine. Well, she had read some of my other books prior to Sweet Potato that have never seen the light of day. Those are the ones like how Nicholas Sparks said he had written one, and it was up in a like a chest in his attic, and it's like it's going to stay there kind of thing. They were bad. Well, Mama loved Sweet Potato. Sweet Potato was Jordan Sparks. My mama would call up for Jordan Sparks. She would call up for her American Idol. We would be on that phone dialing for Jordan Sparks. So that's who's the inspiration. Mama loved her some Queen Latifah. So Miss Sunshine is Queen Latifah. I'm not telling you spoilers. I'm just telling you, yeah, that's around Sweet Potato. And so I wrote that in a very hard time, in a hard place. And I guess that's just why I feel Sweet Potato. And then she was the last one that my mom read. And so, yeah, so last year with that whole Hallmark thing, when they had that open call for submissions, they don't have it this year, but they had it last year. And I was like, okay, I'm going to write a magical Christmas wedding. And no, because they don't take books that way. They only take books that's through their Hallmark publishing, and you have to have an agent. So you have to have an agent for them to even look at it through Hallmark publishing. And the thing is that I wrote a magical Christmas wedding, but then it did have a little bit more religious elements into it. Oh, I know. Hey, anybody know Queen Latifah out there? You'll go right on out and y'all spread the word, because she's Miss Sunshine all the way. And I want you to read it, because Allie and Tish, they came to me separate with the same exact person that they thought Miss Sunshine was. And I was like, y'all know it's Queen Latifah. What are you talking? But yeah, I could see where you're coming from. That's a great actress. I don't want to tell you, but it was like, oh, I would love it. Because Jordan Sparks, she is my Sweet Potato. And Queen Latifah, man, that would be a dream. I don't know how you can reach their people. Their people are probably so way up in the clouds from us. I know God can connect us with where we're supposed to be, but yeah, that would be something. That would be something. But yeah, they are the true inspirations for those characters. So Jordan Sparks, she really helped my mom out that year, because that was the year of my dad's passing. And they had been married 52 years. So that was a rough year. Music. Jordan Sparks music on that American Idol and Queen Latifah movies. I'm telling you. But I can't wait to hear what you think. I just got a new review this week. and it said like a master class in voice. And I was like, oh, I will take that. I will take that line because it is Southern. There was someone wrote that they could hear the Southern voice, the Southern accent. I'm like, they're probably channeling me when they're reading. Yeah. So my parents got married in 1955. And that's why when I wrote A Magical Christmas Wedding last year, she travels back to 1955 in her grandmother's wedding dress. And so that honors my parents' relationship in A Magical Christmas Wedding. Oh, yeah, my parents had a whirlwind. My mom was 15, my dad was 20. And, but it was back in the day, man. 1955, my mom was like, my dad dated her for a month, and then he went back to the base in Georgia, and he sent her a letter, and he was like, tell your mom we're getting married when I get on leave. That was how he asked my mom, was through a letter. And he came right back down, and he picked her up, and they went to the Justice of the Peace. And my granny, she wore curlers in her hair. And they all piled up in a car. And my daddy was so excited that he got to marry my mama that he left the marriage license at the Justice of the Peace, and they had to turn around and go all the way back and get the marriage license. And my mama wore a polka dot dress. Oh, I know. It is like, if you like, trust me, if you would read my books, you would see not only music is in all of them, but you would see pieces of life in every one of them. In some weird way, like the time when my third grade teacher had a bathtub in our classroom, where we were allowed to hop into that pillowed bathtub and get to read. I looked so forward to getting into that bathtub in that classroom. And then here I am writing an adult romance, and he piles all these pillows in the bathtub, and they go in and they write in country song. They're writing like country type Christian lyrics in the bathtub with a bunch of pillows. They're like, what are they doing in there? Like, all these little things that happen, they all just kind of go. So yeah, I think talking about our work is it's good too, because then other people will be like, that's crazy, or wow. But yeah, so that's the part of my audit tonight that I'm glad we got to hang out some, Michelle. Was just really kind of doing those first steps. Oh yeah, and it was like an antique bathtub. You know that joker is heavy. Oh yeah, I honored her with that. And her name was Miss Jennifer. Miss Jennifer Locklear. And so I got Locklears in my story. Not that story, but Tyler Locklear in the Hartwood Chronicles book. And Jamie Locklear. So yeah, and I named like teachers. One of my teachers, I had the same teacher for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, because I'm from a very small town, and she was my 6th, 7th, and 8th grade English teacher. And her, so yeah, I named a character after her. She's the priest. Yeah, she's the priest in the Hartwell Chronicles. Let me tell you the story. So I love my teacher from middle school, and she still keeps up with me. She's on my launch team. She's on my Facebook, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to send you an autographed copy So I sent it to her in the mail, and she got it, and she was like, Jennifer, you said you're going to autograph it for me. I was like, you're telling me I mailed this book to this lady and I didn't autograph it? She specifically wanted a personalized book. Because her name is one of the main characters. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I was like, just give that one away. Just give it away to somebody. And then I signed it. I was like, okay, let me slow down. Oh, I'm so glad you got to hang out with Tish. I watch a lot of Tish's stuff. Like, I watched her Snowflake Method. One of them, I'll like play it because I don't get up that early. There's no way. But I'm going to be doing the write-ins late because that's the way my schedule works. But Tish's brain starts early. She loves it. So, which we honor our own time. We got to find our time. So I know this one was fun. Have you done the audit yet where you've started to look? Because I've already got some really great ideas just by looking at that one page, just this one page. And I know I want to do a 20% increase in engagement. Yeah, I feel like that one page is perfect for me. And I know where I need to spend more time. And that's my podcast. And that is my blog. Those are the two. And then I would be able to repurpose all those things out. Because on YouTube, when I'm making my podcast, I can always create those videos, put them up on YouTube, share them out audio on my podcast, and I would get that content in both places. And then I can always go live on YouTube. So like you said, like that repurposing. So now that I kind of know, yeah, I think that's key. And you know that you could make yourself a link tree. Do you have a link tree? In fact, I need to see if I added that thing on the link tree. I'm telling you an idea. That could be a next steps right there. I'm going to go to my link tree. And I'm just going to see what I got on there. Because when my bio is just like, it's easy to have that. So, oh, see, it says pre-order Sweet Potato Jones. Come on. Sweet Potato Jones is here. Order your coffee today. I can't believe I haven't been on here. See, that's why I'm doing the audit. The more okay, so let's see what else I got. Okay, check out Jen Lowry's books. And then Jen's on Twitch. Jen's author website. Merchandise, Patreon, podcast, Facebook, Pinterest page. I didn't put it on there, Michelle. Okay. So I want to move my author site up, and then I'm going to add a new one. See? Let me open this thing up. Yeah. I'm going to go get that form right now. Yeah, I didn't want to, I did not want to pay, and I did not want to use some of those service providers because they show your personal address, and then I would have to go get a P.O. box number. And I was like, wow. Like, I don't want to have to go do all that. That's another extra money investment piece. And so I didn't want like my personal address like popping up in there and all that. So then I was like, how can I do it in a way that I can have control of my own thing? And it was Google. It was the Google form, and it was my website pop up. So now I'm going to go get this Google form. And I called it I can show you I can show you the questions I did. So I just put join my mailing list and then put your name. That's it. That was that quick. And I tried it. It works. This is the one I show. I made a copy because you can't show things out. That would have somebody's email list on it. So I have like one I showed, and that's one. But it's that simple. And I made my banner over on Canva. I don't have the Pro one. Okay. Sign up for Jen's newsletter. And now I went and got the right form. That's my original. And then I want to put it closer. I'll put it onto my website. I will put it above my website. There. And then, oh, I love me some Canva. So there's my link tree. Now that Canva is a great return on investment. That $12.95 Pro, I gladly pay you Canva every month. As much as I use that work, man, I'm on that thing every single day. If I'm not making something for work, I'm making something for Author World. And so there, I just went and added that newsletter. Yeah, I love the Pro. I do the Pro. At first, I used it free for a long time. That is one thing I purchased. I purchased that, and I purchased the Adobe Suite products because my past cover designer convinced me that I could get on YouTube and I could teach myself how to use those fancy Adobe Illustrator for cover design and all of that. Ha ha. So over my head, but I'm locked in now. It's a monthly thing and I can't get out of it. Didn't read that fine print. So then that's just on my to-do list because now I'm motivated because I'm paying for it every month. I need to use it. I need to learn how. So that's going to be like maybe over the Christmas holidays. Because I even bought me a drawing tablet and everything. Yes, I did. One of my students helped me with the drawing tablet. They had the perfect model, and it's great. But I just got to learn how to do all the fancy stuff. All right. So I feel accomplished tonight, Michelle. Got my numbers, got my goal. Oh, yeah, I get the educator's discount for Adobe, but it's still, yeah. So on my Linktree, when it says check out Jen's books, it's easier for me to just send everybody to Amazon, and I send them to my big author link where if you would have just typed in my name, it's going to go straight to Amazon. The reason why is because if I would have had those other books to read links, then I would have had to have, like I've got over 20. And so there are a lot of people that are still buying from Amazon. Yeah, I've published 20 books. So, you know what I made last night was my media kit. And I shared that sample media kit in the WWJ's group. And I showed each page. And then I was inspired because I knew that was on my fall audit. Because I did not have anything with sweet potato on there. It was like coming soon, right? I can show you that too. But you can watch, if you want to look at that one, it shows the original. It's way prettier than anything that I've ever done. So I'm not comparing it. But that was on my list of things to do for this audit, was to fix that media kit up. Because, so like, for example, when I'm going to this Zoom thing tomorrow, I could send that media kit. I sent it this morning. It was the first time it was going out. Oh, wonderful. Thanks. I loved your kit. Can't wait to share it out. And I was like, I'm so glad I did that. It's just perfect timing. Now I have it for the October month because I have another thing. And yeah, I created it in Canva. I can, what I'm showing you is like, it's not the best thing ever in the world. I never claim to be the best with the graphic design and all of that. But, because that's not what my major is in. But I can pull it up and I can show you. So I'm going to share my screen again. Because I made this one last night. And so I started it with what readers are saying about sweet potato, and then I put down the different reader reviews. And then I'll make it big. And then I made each individual banner that shows all of my published books based upon their ages. And so now I've made these banners, and I'm going to get to use those again for my website or for different times when I'm promoting certain age groups. Or then I used my bio. This is the bio that is directly from my publishing company, so it's best to use that one in case they would find me on those sites. It's the same bio. And then I created a like a resume sheet. And then here are my author photos and my logo, because a lot of times when I'm creating things for to have people with the podcast, then they will I'll need their author photo, and if they could send me that, I could crop it, take it right off the page. So I was like, I'll just send author photos too, in case they're trying to do some kind of image or something when they're doing their promotions. And so that's my little media kit, and it's going to work for right now. I didn't put in descriptions of all the other books. I felt like the covers spoke a lot about the genre, because you could look at some and say, oh, that's middle grade fantasy. Oh, yeah. They can look at the titles. The could get it all. I didn't need to do like book blurbs for everything. I did not even do book blurbs for Sweet Potato Jones. I just did the reader review. So the longer one that I showed as a sample, I cut that back a lot. But the longer one is the one I showed in the WWJs. It was very extensive. It was beautiful. But I felt like for me right now, this was a great start. And if I wanted to go back in and add any other pages, I could. But 5 pages for me is good enough. And so that's the stuff I've kind of been working on this past week. Still got a long list of things to do. But this is going to be my time every night just to kind of go through them and start crossing them off. And so I've done some of that stuff tonight. Like worked on, got the link tree done. Got my goals set up. I've done my baseline for my audit. The baseline is key. So now I have all of those numbers captured. Wish I would have done that. Well, hey, I can say I did that because in May 2018, I'm going to put it in the chat. It was that. May 2018, it was 0. And so I can say, okay, I'm at the 2-year mark. Now I can actually kind of chart this thing out and kind of be more specific. Yep, and I did start in one place. I started at 0. Had no author platform at all. And so after 2 years, podcast is still going strong. Here I am still plugging it away on YouTube and still blogging and all of that. And then just added other elements as I went. Yep, progress. I'm telling you, progress it is. And with me, if I wake up, like honestly, this whole wake up, here's an idea. I know this is the Lord. It's like Holy Spirit's going, okay, now's your day. This is the day the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it is my favorite Bible verse. And so when I wake up in the morning, I'm saying that Bible verse, and then the Lord's like, okay, you want some joy? So start the Soul Food Book Club, because the Soul Food restaurant is in Sweet Potato Jones. If you're going to have a book club, honor that girl. Honor Miss Sunshine's restaurant. This is where it all began. So that's why it's the Soul Food Book Club. And then it's like, okay, we got that one done. And then I woke up and it's like, oh, do a whole month of friendship and fellowship and fun for December with holiday romance. Okay, Lord, I'll do that. I don't know what it's going to look like. And then I'm emailing people going, just pray about it because the Lord will give you what it needs to look like. Here's some ideas. But like, let's just do this thing and have some joy. So these whole wake up ideas, I love them. I love how the Lord just keeps surprising me every day of the week with something new. It is, and it's progress, and it's all progress. And it's all about just living this author life the best that we can and being writing productive. I'm going to be starting my book this week. I have to, because 50,000 words in nano, it's great, but I want at least 70,000 word romance novel. Do you have like a range of what you wanted with Elijah's Heart? Because I know for me, when I get that 7, I'm like, okay, I'm done. So I want to at least write 20,000 words before November 1st. That's kind of like my goal. Because then I'll do the 50,000 and I'll have a 70,000 and I will have, oh, that is a complete first draft. So I've already thought through that goal too. And I made the cover. I shared it here on the channel. And I added a Christmas tree. And then I ended up sending it back to Tish. Like, look, I had a Christmas tree. Like, I send her like 5 pictures a day. I know Tish is like, oh my gosh, Jennifer. So I've got my goals set for Nano, and I got my pre-goals set up. And I am going to do that outlining on Jamboard. I'm going to do that 3-act structure like I did for the Sunday Killer. I'm going to go ahead and plot it all out. Man, that junk. I love that mess in July. I wrote that book. Like, that's the way to go for me. And it was just sticky note idea. It was like motivation point, motivation or an action point. And I just charted it. And then there it was. It was a very loose, very loose outline, but it worked for me. And I am going to use that same strategy, I think. Yeah, I'm hoping that once I'm not so like in the evening, like, oh no, I'm too tired. But then my husband already knows when I start to write a book, like Saturdays and Sundays, as soon as church is over on Sundays, I'm going to be writing. Yeah, I want to do the 20K in October, but I might actually start this week because I already know parts of the storyline. So I might start plotting this week. I might already go ahead and pull up my Jamboard and my 3-act structure sheet and start doing my sticky notes. So that way I can get the 20,000 in October and then the 50,000 in November, and then I will be set. Now, Sweet Potato is like 91,000 words. I know she's a little bit big for a YA, and first publishing contract. It's not fantasy either. So, like, you know, it's contemporary fiction, and they took a chance with that book. That's a bigger book for YA. But my fantasy was a little longer, but I like that 70,000 for adult work, especially romance. My middle grades are like, if it's early middle grade, like 30,000, but if it's my, like the one that I just wrote, The Fae of Averly was 47,000. Bridges was long, my YA fantasy, but that's a fantasy trilogy, and that one's a little longer. I could not cut. I cut what I could to try to kind of trim it a little bit, but man, I had to just honor that thing. But once I know that I can get to like 70 for Nano, 20 for October, 50 for November, and I feel like I could do it. I did it for the Sunday Killer that way. I started in June, right before the Nano July month. And I wrote just enough. And then I exceeded my Nano goal. And I ended up with like 70,000 words with the Sunday Killer. And so that adult serial killer book is that first draft is already done, complete. And as first draft, I'm going to have to go back through it and everything. But so yeah, I got the Fae of Averly done. I thought that's what I was going to be editing. And then the Lord was like, no, you're not editing. Let's write a book. Write book 2 of A Magical Christmas Wedding. So we are writing a young adult twist to this book. So super excited about it. All right, Michelle, I hope you have a great night. I will message you if I hear back from that lady in London, and let you know if she can meet with us during that time or whatever. I'll play back and forth tag, see what we can come up with. But all right, guys, thank y'all for catching this video, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful evening. I'm going to be here on the show pretty much every night, talking either audits or author life, or maybe doing writing sprints. Now that I know I'm going to be starting that countdown to Christmas, which is actually the name of the book. Funny, right? So that's going to be my new YA book that I'm going to be working on. And I'm also going to be planning events. So I might have some working sessions where I'm working on the behind the scenes of some author events that we've got coming up. It could be the WWJ's hanging out. We're going to be doing some things for October. We're having a meeting about that this week. So good things in store, guys. And I just want to thanks, Michelle. It's great to have you hanging out with me. But I just hope that you guys have a blessed one, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.